Hey everyone! We are here in Cello Guru Central. This is the fourth session of our country music on the cello. Yeehaw! Cello Nation Live. All right, so today we are going to work on the solo for Always on My Mind, right? The beautiful tune, Always on My Mind. We've been playing it some. And as you guys come in, right in the chat, if you are here where you are joining us from, yay! I'm not going to look at the chat today. I'm just going to teach because that's what I feel like doing. So, but do write in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from and who you might be. Okay? All right. Always on my mind is what we're working on. So, hi, Adrian. Nice to see you. Always on my mind. You guys got the music out? Today, so I'm trying to keep these short. Usually they are going 30 minutes. I'm going to try to make it 15 today because that's what I'm going to try to be doing in the future. So listen, we today are going to be talking about your solo for a minute, okay? So look at your Always on My Mind chart, right? We worked on bass notes. That's the first thing we worked on. Doing bass notes in real time against this music. As the music is going by, you make up your bass part to put in there. And it can be as simple as you want or as complex as you want. Of course, it's going to get harder as you make it more complex, right? The rhythm I'm talking about, right? Okay, so we did bass notes. We did arpeggios going through the whole piece, right? And different rhythms to put your arpeggios in, right? So today we are going to add the scale element for the solo. So look down at letter C. What I want to tell you guys for this is when it has A, like the second bar, A/C sharp, don't worry about the C sharp. The C sharp is the note that's going to be in the bass, okay? The first note is the chord, all right? So don't worry about the C sharp. I would say it's another thing to worry about, so don't worry about it. Just cross it out and play an A chord, all right? And if you want to X the next one, it says D over D/A in bar 3. We are in letter C, right? Just slash out the A, okay? So it's a D chord, all right? Again, it means that that's the note in the bass line. Don't even worry about it until you understand it a little better, okay? So letter C, what do we do for the solo? The first thing I want you to know, I wrote this out specifically so that there would be a melody, so that you could learn the melody, and then you have a chance to figure out what you're going to do on the solo. That's why there's nothing written out there, right? Now, a different cellist that is not me may write something out for you there. No, that's because they don't trust you. They don't know that you can make up your own part. I know you can make your own part up. That's why I'm leaving it there for you, because that's the fun of playing, is making up our own parts, right? So in letter C, we're going to go over a few things that you can do. Hi, Wendy. Nice to see you. Oh, your walking group got rained out. Yes, of course, of course. All right, so listen, we're talking about the solo in letter C, okay? So what are we going to do over the solo? The first thing I want to tell you is that usually, not always, but usually they write a solo over the A section, the head of the tune, the top of the tune. So the very first thing you can do when you're in a group, right, and they point at you to solo, the very first thing you can do is play the melody over it, right? It's still going to be different than whatever was happening on in the piece. And now they're going to be focusing on you, hearing you play this melody. So letter C, that means you have to memorize the melody, right? The melody from the beginning. Let's see if the chords are the same. Letter A, the first chord's a D, that's the beginning, right? Letter C, the first chord's a D, right? That's the same chord, right? The second bar says A over C sharp. The second bar of letter C says A over C sharp, right? It's the same thing. B minor, D over A, D. Okay, so it's the first 8 bars is what this solo is over. It's the exact same thing. They're using the same chords, right? so that like you'll kind of think, oh, okay, this sounds similar, right? Because it's the chord progression going on in the background, just like the beginning, but you get to do something different with it. But you also get to just play the melody if you want to. Maybe you play the melody in a different octave or something, right? So you can play this melody over letter C. So if you guys want to play it with me, let's play it. Let's just play the melody and pretend like we're playing at letter C. All right, but we're going to play the melody, okay? 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, B minor, 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay, now you're at the second ending of letter C, okay? So that's a 4-bar phrase that repeats, right? So that's the first thing, and the easiest thing. Hi Heidi, nice to see you. That's the easiest thing you can do over the solo section. We are talking solo section today, okay? Easiest thing, default to the melody. There's no shame when you're improvising in playing the melody, because it's your own rendition of it, okay? And it's the easiest thing to jump upon when there's no part written. It's like, what do I do? Just play the melody, it'll usually fit, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, you can do any of the things that we've worked on. The bass line, the arpeggios, or the scale. We're gonna add the scale today, okay, in a minute. So let's just do bass line first over these 8 notes. Again, we are working at letter C. What to do on the solo, okay? Bass notes. And I was saying, when it says something like A over C sharp, just cross out the second one and play an A chord, okay, to start with. Later you can put the C sharp in the bass if you want, but it's not even important at this moment, okay? So let's do a bass line, and I'm going to identify that we're going to do a quarter note bass line, okay? So you can hit D. We can do 4 quarter notes for the bass line, okay? You ready? We're going to do it over letter C to the first ending, and then repeat to C again to the second ending, okay? Just the bass note, okay? 4 notes per bar. Okay, you ready? Starting on a D, letter C. 1, 2, bass notes. A, and repeat to C. D, second ending, E, right? Okay, so notice that in the third bar, we played 2 B's and then 2 D's, because I told you to cross out the A, right? The reason that A is written in there is so that it can be a moving, smooth line. So the third bar, bar 25, 26, 27, which starts with the B minor, could sound like this. A, G. Right? That's why you would do that in the bass line, because it's smooth. Rather than, that's the D. And so you get to choose which 2 of those bass lines you want to do, okay? The easiest one is just to do the root, right? So that was the bass lines, and that was the root that we just did, okay? So now let's do what we did one of the last days, which is our arpeggio. So the bass line works over the solo too. It's not an exciting solo, but it works. And at first we're just grabbing things that'll work, because that makes us amazing to be able to fit in, right? As you do more, you'll get more ideas, you'll be able to do more, you'll have more technique to do it with, right? But first of all, give yourself some compassion and just start with what you have, right? Okay? So now we're going to do our arpeggio at letter C. We're going to do it that slow, okay? So that's your D arpeggio. Everybody do your D arpeggio. Ready? Go. One more time. Ready? Go. That's the first bar of letter C. The second bar is going to be an A arpeggio. A, C sharp, E, right? Let's do it again. Ready? Go. Good. So let's do those two bars. Letter C and the bar after it. Ready? Go. Again, letter C. One more time, letter C. Good, so you can work on that. Wherever you are with that is okay. Now let's do the third bar. We're going to do an easy version of the third bar. Let's just do B, B, D, D, G, and A. Okay? So we're just doing the root notes there in quarter notes. So the third bar, bar 27, is going to be two B's, two D's, two G's. Okay, let's try that again, starting on B minor. Ready? Go. So that is just the root. So basically we're doing arpeggios at letter C, arpeggio 2 after C, and then we're doing roots because it gets faster. It would be too fast to put the arpeggios in there at this point, right? So let's try letter C, arpeggio on the D chord, arpeggio on the A chord, then at 3 after C we're just going to do bass notes, right? Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. A, 2 B's, 2 D's, 2 G's, 2 A's, repeat, arpeggio. If you don't know it, you need to work on it. E, G sharp, B, D. That's the 7th, okay? All right, so you guys can work on this. You get the idea of it, right? So the first way we did a solo was just to play the melody at letter C, right? From the beginning, the melody, right? The second way was just to play bass notes over the chords at letter C, right? The third way is to play arpeggios, and you can make any rhythm you want. So we did this. Could be it's an arpeggio. It's pretty though, you know, there's no reason that can't be a melody in itself, right? So you can goof around with the rhythm on that, meet yourself where you are. It's a very messy study, guys. You're gonna fall off left, right, and center, and that's a good thing, because then you just get back on and you dust yourself off and you figure out some more of this wonderful study, right? Okay, now the third way, maybe it's the fourth way, that I want to talk about soloing is by putting a scale in, okay? We haven't done this yet in this piece, okay? So I'm going to do a commercial here for Monterey Cello Congress. Anybody watching this? I want you at Monterey Cello Congress. Guys, come! It's going to be so fun. I have created an opportunity for cellists to get together and play in a cello choir. It's going to be super fun. It's going to be gorgeous by the beach. There is absolutely no reason that you can't fit in there. We would love to have you there. Megan, hi Megan. Megan's going to be there. Megan and I are getting together to find people to come to Monterey Cello Congress, so I'm going to shout it from every rooftop. And if you guys just, if you can't come, if you can print out my flyer and put it up in your local music store, that would be so cool, because someone joined the other day from someone who lived in Iowa told them about it. How cool is that? It's very, very interesting. But, you know, do the Cello Guru a favor, print out the flyer, or maybe send the flyer to some of your friends that you know are cellists or whatever, okay? Whatever you can do, we appreciate. All right, let's do this scale now, okay? So we're working on the solo at letter C, right? And it's an 8-bar solo, right? You see that, right? All right, we talked about a few of the things that we could do, including playing the melody over it, right? That always works. There's no shame in anything you do, but we're just trying to grab things that will sound good, and then we evaluate and see if we like them or not, right? So the scale, let's do the scale in the same way we did the arpeggios, which is going to be first quarter notes and then 8th notes, okay? So you have to think in the key you're in. I told you it was going to work your brain. You have to think in the key you're in. We are in the key of what? What do you think, guys? What's the key? You guys write the key in the chat, and then I'm going to spoiler alert it to you because it takes you a while to do it. But I want you to think about it first. Okay, 2 sharps. Key of D, right? Key of D. So that means we're going to be doing 2 sharps throughout the solo unless something tells us otherwise. And just don't worry too much about everything. Adrian says D, yep. All right, if there is an alteration in the key of D, right, Heidi? Look at the second ending. It says E7th, and the chord of E has a G sharp in it. So that's not the key of D, is it? And so if there's a chord that you don't know what the scale notes are, you can just stay on the root note for that part. Like in the second ending, just play an E. You can learn an E arpeggio if you want to. E, G sharp, B, D. It's supposed to be a 7th. It doesn't say 7th. E, G sharp, B, right? But that's always what you can defer to. You can always defer to the bass note because it'll always fit. It's the main note of the bar, right? Okay, so for our scale, we're going to do the D scale. We're going to do 4 notes because we're deciding, okay, quarter notes. I'm going to have 4 quarter notes per bar. So play the scale starting on D because that's our chord in the key of D, right? So let's try that. Key of D, 1, 2, first bar. Now the second bar, that was good by the way. Second bar, we're going to start on an A because it's an A chord. You see it? But we're still going to play the notes from the key of D. What? That's right. It's a different way to think about it that blows most of our minds. A. 4 notes. First 4 notes in the scale. Let's do it. Ready? Go. One more time. Ready? Go. Second bar. Okay, so that's the scale we're going to use in the second bar. It's going to sound good with the background harmony because it's highlighting A and it's in the key of D. So let's sew those 2 together. The first bar and the second bar at letter C using the scale, okay? D, starting on D, then starting on A because A is the chord in the second bar. You ready? Okay, here we go. 3, 4, D. And then you got it, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to play through this solo, And then when we get to B minor, D, G, A, we're just going to play those bass notes like we did last time, right? So that would be like 2 Gs. That's how we solve the problem of the third bar and the fourth bar. They're moving really fast, so I don't want to deal with figuring out what to play, so I'm just going to jump on the bass note each time. You can always jump on the bass note, okay? All right, the scales, and then B minor, D, first ending G. Okay, you guys ready? Let's play through it that way. This is working on the scales, all right? In quarter notes. Letter C. Ready, go. D scale. A scale. Bass line. D, G. Back to letter C. D scale. Starting on A. Bass line. E chord. Again, you can always jump on the bass line and stay on it, the bass note, right? But the main goal is to figure out where you are in the music and keep watching the music as you make up your notes, okay? All right, now we're gonna make it a little harder. Yay! If you are on a different level, just stay on the level you know you are. There's no shame in that. Everybody is on this journey together. All right? So let's do our scale in eighth notes, right? So 1 bar of a D scale would be, right? Let's everybody do that. That's the first bar at letter C. Ready, go. One more time, ready, go. That's the second bar, right? It's the D scale starting on an A. Let's try it. Ready, go. Right? It's not the key of A. We're starting on an A. It's not the key of A. The key of A would have a G sharp, right? Let's try it again. The A scale starting on an A, but it's in the key, sorry, it's not an A scale. It starts on an A, but it's really a D scale starting on an A, okay? That means C sharp, no G sharp. You ready? Start on the A. Ready, go. One more time, starting on an A. Ready, go. All right, now we're going to do that, and we're going to do the first 2 bars, and we're going to loop them, okay? So do bar 25 and bar 26, bar 25 and bar 26, bar 25 and bar 26. So it's just the D scale to the A scale. You ready? Here we go. Yeehaw! Bar 25. Ready? Go. Again, C. Again, D scale. Good. Now on the third bar, we're going to do, I guess we're in eighth notes. Let's just do the eighth notes of the root. We don't want to make it too difficult for ourselves. You guys can figure out where you are with it, right? But we can do 4 B's, 4 D's, 4 G's. Okay? So the whole scale in bar 1, the whole scale in bar 2, and then we're just working with bass lines in eighth notes, right? Because they call it the harmonic rhythm gets faster. The harmonies change quicker, right? All right, let's try it. You guys ready? Letter C, we're going to do 8 bars, okay? When the going gets tough, I say jump on the bass note and still try to figure out, still try to stay on the train, find out where you are if you fell off. Okay, you ready? So here's the solo, letter C, 8th notes. You ready? We're going to do all 8 bars. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. D scale. These are some ways to play a solo, okay? Let's go over what we talked about. You can always play where it's usually going to say solo on here. And then someone's going to point at you when you're in a group and go, cello solo, and you're like, oh, what do I do? Sometimes you just pretend like you didn't see them. Anybody do this before? I've certainly done that many times. Like, oh, I didn't see that they're pointing at me. It's not that I can't play the solo, it's that I don't know that they want me to. But we don't want to have to do that. So the things that we can do are we can play the melody there usually. Again, there's no shame in playing the melody when you have a solo because the cello is beautiful. So a cello solo is beautiful no matter what we play, right? And the melody is always gorgeous for people to hear, right? So the first thing you can do is play the melody, jump on the melody. The second thing you can do is play the bass notes. In quarter notes, something very simple. It's not exciting, but it keeps you on and it blends in with the music, right? You could do the bass with eighth note. But it still works. So anything that works, I say throw it in there. Okay? So bass line, then arpeggios could work. Then go to the bass line if you need to when the harmonic rhythm gets faster, okay? And then the last thing we talked about was doing the scale. So I kept the scale going just because I can. Maybe you can't yet. That's okay. You can figure out how to do it, right? It's just starting on the note that is the name of the chord. All right? So now here's the other thing you can do for a solo. You can combine any of those, okay? Listen to this. If I started with the melody, now I can mix it up. But you can mix it up. Play 2 bars of melody and then play arpeggios. Or you can play arpeggios and then the scale. So I'm going to do the scale and then the arpeggio just to give you an idea. So 3, 4. did that? So this brings variety. And what you see people doing in solos a lot of time is they are just playing the same thing all the way through, right? And so it's good to figure out, like, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 bars, and then I'm going to do another thing for 2 bars, right? First, learn how to do the one thing over all 4 bars, and then challenge yourself and do 2 bars of arpeggios and 2 bars of scale, or 2 bars of scale and 2 bars of arpeggio, or 2 bars of melody and then 2 bars of arpeggio. Doesn't matter what it is. It's all shaking it up. It's all mixing stuff up in your brain, making it difficult, making us think, making us smarter musicians, okay? So it's 30 minutes. See, I'm not able to do 15 minutes. Okay, guys, write in the chat how you did with this. Write in the chat if you have any questions. We are off to Half Moon Bay today to put up flyers for the Monterey Cello Congress on the coast. I'm doing this with my daughter, old school. I have tacks and I have tape, and we're going to put them up in coffee shops and music stores, and we're going to get people out to Monterey in June, right? So talk it up, guys. Love how you do that. Yay! Wendy loves those things I do. This is so much fun. Adrian says it's so much fun. It is fun, isn't it, guys? It's fun for me to teach it to you guys, because what a blast. It's going to enhance your playing for the rest of your life. Yes. Okay, so you guys write in the chat. Even if you write after we leave here in the chat, you can even write something on the post in Cello Nation so that it entices cellists to watch it, so that they can get this fun study happening too. Wendy says drive safe. Yeah, I hope it's not going to rain more, Wendy. We shall see. Thank you, Adrian. I will see you guys later. Thanks, Heidi. Thanks to those who didn't identify yourselves. And we're going to see you guys later. Watch this back. Play along with it later. And play along with Willie. I mean, put Willie on and use these techniques playing along with Willie. Back Willie up. And when it comes to the solo, someone else is playing a solo, you just play louder than that person. Because they're not here, they're not in your room anyway. They're not going to care if you cover them up. Okay, guys, I will see you guys next week, where we're just going to throw everything together and play some on Always on My Mind, okay? Bye now. Even though I'm leaving, you guys are always on my mind. Thanks, guys. Over and out.